Now joining us to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from all around the world are Arise News analyst Emmanuel Afeni and Dayo Shobowale. Mr. Emmanuel Afeni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Zimbai. Good afternoon, Ni Oyelowo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dayo.
Greetings.
Well, we'll start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, NUPRC moves to speed up approvals for divesting IOCs, set to raise oil production by 700,000 barrels per day, gives affected multinationals option to conclude process or wait for audit report. Well, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission trying to speed up its activities as it relates to the assets being exited by international oil companies. And most of these have been taken up by indigenous businessmen. And it's like they cannot wait for the NUPRC to conclude the process. But of course, they have to follow due process to ensure that these companies also comply with the Petroleum Industry Act. But they are waiting in the wings, ready to pump in money into these assets because these assets being vacated by the international oil companies. For some years now, they've not invested much into that because, of course, they were planning to exit this. And when this process is concluded and these assets are taken over by indigenous businessmen, it will raise production by 700,000 barrels
per day.
Well, per day. Well, that is some very good target to look at. So by the end of the year, we should be talking about 2 million barrels per day. It's going to be a nice place to be because that means more money.
Depends on what you make of the proceeds.
Exactly.
No, but
there you go.
The goal is okay, but it depends on what you make of the proceeds.
But even beyond that, Dayo, if we look at page 6 of the guide of this day newspaper, I think they can put it up there. It's there in the Nigeria's oil output slumps again. Depresses OPEC's crude production in April. Oil price falls for third consecutive day. Of course,
we have a problem
yes,
with oil theft.
because we are not even meeting our current quota by OPEC. So
1.7 to 2 million
we
barrels.
but we are still a far cry from our OPEC.
Struggling to do that.
So if this target can be met by these indigenous oil companies when they take over these oil assets, then it will be some good news. Well, you are talking of how we'll spend the money. Let's earn the money first.
Okay, and I admire the gospel with which they are going about it.
Yes.
They are trying to prove that the fact that these people are living does not mean that we cannot manage our assets.
Yes, so
I like that.
So it's good. It's something we have to keep a watching brief on. Now let's look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper. Yes, the lead story there: Labour demands inflation-proof pay.
Amen.
Frequent wage review.
Me too.
Well,
We all want inflation.
for your salaries to be inflation-proof, it means there has to be periodic review to match the rate of inflation. It is not utopia because in the UK recently, when doctors, lawyers, rail workers, airport workers went on strike, it's because they want their salaries to be increased to match the rate of inflation.
There's no economy that we are human beings consume. There must be inflation.
Yes.
Production.
So you increase salary at least to take care of that inflation. Because, for instance, when this the outgoing minimum wage, because there is when it was put in place some years ago, it was the equivalent of $84. But that same 30,000 naira is the equivalent of $23 today. So there must be some adjustment to always meet this. And the ongoing
I think we also shouldn't get distracted from holding the government accountable to ensure that they stay on top of policies. we shouldn't be afraid to make policy U-turns, change, amend, and so forth. We don't need to stick to a policy just because
rigidity.
Yes. Let's be flexible. If something is not working, it doesn't matter.
No, but when the government of the day believes that you only just need to go through the pains like childbirth and you get the gains at the end.
So then give us the inflation salary.
I'm not being sarcastic. That's what the government says. That pains before the gain, and that the gain is just around the corner.
The government is a political body. Like Vimai rightly said, it will be saying several things at several places and times in various contexts.
Are you saying
that it was elected?
Are you saying they are deceiving Nigerians? Is that what you're saying?
You are the one that just said it.
Mr. Feni, they can't demarket their country. There's nobody who's going to go and demarket their country.
Government must be flexible, responsive. And that's what they are doing.
Well, but if they believe genuinely that these measures will bring gains at the end, no sarcasm here, then they continue to stick to it. But if at the end of it, Nigerians don't see it.
Like I have always quoted me here. I have always wanted intervention.
Yes.
But they are playing with market forces. And I have not stopped saying what I'm saying.
Yes.
And they are immune to what I'm saying.
Yes.
But that is the essence of politics.
Okay. Well, as Punch newspaper reporting this story, minimum wage, federal government labor talks deadlocked, NLC defends 615,000 naira demand. Dayo, is that wishful thinking? 650?
You just said it now. But I just discussed this one now.
Okay, let's just move on to other stories. Well, the Vanguard newspaper, we'll look at the story below the photograph. The Vanguard newspaper. Banks closed 2 million accounts over BVN, NIN, others. So those who have not done their BVN and they will still want to have accounts with banks, well, they know what to do. Go and do the needful, get your NIN, go to your bank,
I'm sure most Nigerians have
register
done this a long time.
for your BVN. Yeah. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, here's the story below the photograph because the lead story is a familiar one. Bode George, Ugonkelu, others begin reconciliation in Lagos PDP. Say party has potential to win the 2027 Goba polls. But my problem with PDP in Lagos is that they have a way of undoing themselves when it matters most.
I was about to say so. This is not the first
give
time
them benefit of
we've heard of reconciliation efforts too.
Give them benefit of doubt.
Yes.
They are the fact that some people can sit together again.
Yes.
This is a lot for Lagos PDP.
Elder statesman Chief Bode George. I think a lot rests on his laps because he's the Agba PDP elder in this Lagos. Yes. So I think he should be able to bring everybody together.
Even at national level. At national level,
yes.
Have a common purpose here.
Personal interest.
Yes. Seems to be the
Now let's just go straight to South Africa, where the Business Day newspaper is reporting Simbaye drags Mantashe to court. Of course, Simbaye Stillwater, a mining giant, they're dragging the Minister of Mines in South Africa, Gwede Mantashe, to court over issues of mining license. Well, that's why the courts are there to settle disputes.
All the time,
mining contributes a lot to the industry.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Then we go to Harare, yes, Zimbabwe, where the Daily News is reporting toxic politics is bad for Zimbabwe. Union leaders say as they call for national unity on Labor Day, the labor leaders in Zimbabwe, including David Zachunga, yes, the General Secretary, the Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector.
You seem to like Zimbabwe a lot.
No, you. For what you have done, if for no other reason, for giving us such a beautiful wife in the Niger Delta. It's been by. Don't worry, I'll keep on promoting Zimbabwe. Well, but the labor leaders are saying the politicians should unite and deal with the decade-long problems that have been plaguing that country so that the economy can become buoyant again. And when the economy is buoyant...
politics is bad anywhere, including Nigeria.
So it's a good way to a good call to make on Labor Day in
And I think the message
Zimbabwe.
also even resonates
Nigeria.
here.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah,
message.
yeah. Okay, now if
you
we
know
look
what is going on here.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we look at
That will be the final one.
yes, the Daily Mail of UK, right? It's a sad one. The story there: a true scholar, Daniel, 14 killed in sword attack, was teacher's son, of Nigerian descent, Daniel Anjori. The boy was killed yesterday by that knife-wielding fellow. Of course, knife violence still a major problem in the UK. And this young man,
Knife violence.
14-year-old, described as a scholar, brilliant, huge future ahead of him, but cut short in that night. A very sad story.
Very sad.
Yeah, and you know, well, Japa is such a big thing. I think, you know, not to discourage people or to dash people's hopes. Everybody's looking for a better life, but just to also know that there are challenges everywhere in the world.
Yeah, and of course, on that front page also, if you put it over there, the Daily Mail, day that Rwanda became a reality. They started arresting, handcuffing. People
bringing us back home. Mr. Dayo Shobowale, Mr. Emmanuel Efedi, thank you so much for your contributions today.